your fruit bowl has been lying to you. One of the berries in it is not the berry you think. An animal you already know poops cubes. Another planet serves blue sunsets. A different planet turned time into a joke. The moon is quietly drifting away from you. A cloud can weigh more than 1,000,000 pounds. A bolt of lightning is hotter than the sun's surface. One shark species may outlive entire countries. A university can be older than an empire. And the shortest war in recorded history barely lasted longer than a coffee break. Some of these sound fake until science ruins the joke. Somehow, that only makes them better. By the end of this, normal facts are going to feel wildly underqualified. Botanically, bananas count as berries because they grow from one flower with one ovary and soft flesh throughout. Strawberries do not make the cut because the red part swells from the flower base, not the ovary. So the fruit aisle has been gaslighting you with confidence, which honestly feels rude coming from produce. And somehow, that is still one of the least chaotic things in your kitchen today. An octopus has 3 hearts, and 2 are basically dedicated to pumping blood through the gills. The third heart sends oxygen-rich blood around the body, which is useful when your whole lifestyle involves being weird. It also has blue blood because copper-rich hemocyanin carries oxygen better in cold, low-oxygen water. And yes, marine biology is already showing off, but the mammals are about to get even stranger. Bare-nosed wombats produce cube-shaped poop, which sounds invented by a sleep-deprived cartoon writer but is completely real. Researchers found the shape comes from the animal's intestines, which squeeze the material unevenly before it exits. Scientists think the cubes help the droppings stay put on rocks and logs, which makes territory marking easier. This means somewhere in Australia, geometry is happening for deeply personal reasons every night, apparently. Properly sealed honey can stay edible for astonishingly long periods because microbes hate its low moisture and acidic chemistry. That is why archaeologists have found ancient honey that remained preserved, even after spending centuries sitting in containers. It can crystallize or darken over time, but that is a texture and color issue, not doom. And if your snack just survived longer than most kingdoms, your pantry deserves more respect. That earthy smell after rain has a name, petrichor, one of the fanciest labels ever given to muddy happiness. When dry soil gets wet, oils from plants and compounds from soil microbes rise into the air. Your brain recognizes that scent instantly, which is why a storm can feel nostalgic before it even starts. And now the sky is involved, which means the next fact gets properly cosmic fast. On Mars, sunsets look blue around the sun, which is the exact opposite of the vibe on Earth. Fine dust in the Martian atmosphere scatters red light outward while letting blue light stay concentrated near the sun. So if you stood there in a spacesuit, evening would feel eerily familiar and completely wrong at once. But wait, another planet managed to outdo Mars by turning time itself into a prank. A single rotation on Venus takes 243 Earth days, while one trip around the Sun takes 225. So on Venus, a day is longer than a year, which feels like a scheduling nightmare. Venus also spins backward compared with most planets because apparently being unbearably hot was not enough personality. And somehow that still is not the planet most likely to float in your imagination. Saturn is the only planet with an average density lower than water, so it would float in theory. You would need a bathtub so absurdly huge it would qualify as a fresh problem for astrophysics. Of course, Saturn is mostly gas, so the floating trick stays firmly in the category of impossible nonsense. Still, the image of a ringed planet bobbing like a toy duck is hard to shake. Jupiter's Great Red Spot is a storm that remains wider than Earth, even after shrinking for years. Winds there can roar at hundreds of miles per hour inside a system that has lasted for centuries. You are looking at weather so oversized it makes hurricanes seem like bad moods with paperwork. And yes, space is flexing again, but our own moon has been quietly drifting away this whole time. The moon moves away from Earth by about 1.5 inches or nearly 4 centimeters every year. That slow escape is caused by tidal interactions, as Earth spins and transfers a little energy outward. It is tiny on human timescales, but over millions of years it changes day length and orbit distance. So yes, the moon is ghosting us politely, 1 inch at a time every year. The sun is so huge that about 1.3 million Earths could fit inside its volume. Even knowing that number, your brain still tries to picture it and immediately pulls a hamstring. Our star also holds more than 99% of the solar system's mass, which is deeply main character behavior. And after that, Pluto somehow gets even cuter and more ridiculous by comparison next up. Pluto is only about half as wide as the United States, and smaller than Earth's moon. For a world that sparked decades of debate, it is basically cosmic pocket size with icy attitude. It still has mountains, atmosphere changes, and a surprisingly complicated family of moons orbiting around it. Now let's come back to Earth, where even ordinary-looking clouds are hiding absurd levels of mass. A puffy 1 kilometer wide cumulus cloud can weigh around 1.1 million pounds, mostly from tiny water droplets. It stays up because that water is spread out through a huge volume with rising air helping. So the fluffy sky decoration above your head may outweigh several airplanes without looking remotely threatening. And this is where weather stops being cozy and starts showing off for real now. A lightning bolt can heat the air to around 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, about 5 times the sun's surface. That superheated air expands explosively, which creates the shock wave you hear a moment later as thunder. So thunder is basically the sound of air reacting dramatically to instant atmospheric overachievement nearby. And somehow ancient animals still manage to steal the spotlight from literal skyfire next up. Sharks existed before trees, with early shark ancestors swimming the oceans more than 400 million years ago. The first tree-like forests appeared later, which means sharks were already doing shark things before woodlands arrived. That is not just old. That is older than forests old, which feels aggressively prehistoric to picture. But if you want truly ridiculous longevity, the next shark wins by centuries easily too. Greenland sharks are estimated to live at least 250 years, and some may survive for more than 500. They grow so slowly that scientists think they do not reach maturity until roughly 150 years old. That means one shark alive today could have been cruising the Arctic before the United States existed. And yes, nature just dropped a half-millennium fish into the conversation like that was normal. Polar bears look white, but under that fur, they have black skin that helps absorb warmth. Their hairs are actually hollow and scatter light, which is why the coat appears pale instead of pigmented. So the world's most famous snow camouflage is basically a trick of structure, not white paint. And while that is clever, a giant underground fungus might be the sneakiest flex of all. In Oregon, a single honey fungus spreads across more than 2,000 acres beneath the forest floor. Most of it is hidden underground as thread-like filaments, quietly moving through roots and wood. So you could walk through part of one enormous organism without realizing the forest floor is basically occupied. And history is about to do the same kind of sneaky scale trick next too. Teaching at Oxford began around 1096, which makes the university older than the Aztec Empire. The Aztec capital Tenochtitlan was founded around 1325, so those timelines overlap in a very weird way. It is one of those facts that makes history stop feeling like neat boxes and start folding. If this one broke your brain a little, the last fact is somehow even shorter and stranger. The shortest war in recorded history, the Anglo-Zanzibar War, lasted less than 40 minutes in 1896. It began after a succession dispute, and British warships quickly bombarded the Sultan's palace into surrender. So yes, an entire war started and ended faster than many people finished choosing something on Netflix. If this kind of true nonsense is your thing, there is a whole universe of facts waiting nearby. These are the facts you text someone at midnight just to watch their entire reality blink. If one of these facts deserves its own deep dive, stick around, because the next video gets even wilder. Until then, keep your brain curious, your friends confused, and your fruit labels under active suspicion.